Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. All right. Well, as you can see on the screen, once again, we are confronted with division. All right. No small. I mean, this is something that is going to rear its ugly head for as long as we're here. Let's just face the facts. But first and foremost, I want to give all honor, call halal Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shah, by Hashem, call Hakodash. All right. Infinite praise to the Most High Yahweh and His Son Yahweh Shai, and double honors go out to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who continue through the Holy Spirit to teach us this knowledge, this truth, all right, so we can therefore distribute it amongst the other Israelites, all right, who are hopefully elect. As we can only hope. We don't know for sure, all right, and it would be hubris to say otherwise, all right, on our part. But here we go again. We have Juneteenth, and I never understood this, never even paid attention to it. You know, in my middle age, it's like so freaking what? Especially now knowing the history behind this, and like, who cares, all right? Because we know that behind the scenes, this is just another, like, okay, so some people in Texas didn't get the word till late. I mean, so what? We still aren't free. We still aren't free to this day because a lot of people, they just look at the word emancipation and think that means freedom. No, it does not. Again, these people that hate us, all right, the ones that enslaved us and their descendants, and somehow they think they're not to be held liable because, according to their logic, they're not the ones that had us in chains, that paid for us to be brought over here. But the thing is, these same people profess to be Christians. And if you have any understanding at all, the nation of Israel went into captivity each time, all right, as a nation for their sins. Were each and every Israelite guilty? No. And therein lies the chink in their logic. All right. You will be judged as a people en masse, as a nation. You say these things, well, if I was back then, by golly, I wouldn't have participated. Yeah, whatever. But even now, you've enjoyed the fruits. See, this is how hypocritical these people are. All right. They've even got laws on their books like aiding and abetting. What's the slogan? Crime doesn't pay. Well, it served America quite well. As a matter of fact, it served the so-called white race quite well. So crime doesn't pay unless it's you. So here you are benefiting from your forefathers' crime still, and you have the nerve to sit back as if, I don't know, you're some kind of moral paragon. No. What's happening here, this is a Newsweek article, by the way, and it says 7 Republicans voted against Juneteenth and giving medals to January 6 officers. Right? Their excuse is this: If we support one, we have to support the other, so we won't do either. It says the House passed bills that garnered huge bipartisan support in Congress over 2 consecutive days this week. One aimed toward the officers who protected the Capitol on January 6th with gold medals, and the second sought to make Juneteenth a federal holiday, which, by the way, just passed. The first vote to award United States Capitol Police officers a Congressional Gold Medal, one of the highest civilian honors, passed by a vote of 406 to 21 on Tuesday. That's 406 for and 21 against. The second, Senate Bill 475, for the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act, passed by 415 to 14 on Wednesday. In both cases, the only lawmakers who voted against the bill were Republicans. In total, 7 GOP representatives who opposed recognizing June 19th as a federal holiday also opposed rewarding the January 6th officers for their efforts protecting the Capitol during the deadly January 6th attack. And here are the people here: Andy Biggs, Arizona; Andrew Clyde, Georgia; Paul Gosser, Arizona; Thomas Massey, Kentucky; Ralph Norman, South Carolina; Matt Rosendale, Montana; and Chip Roy, Texas. On Wednesday, Biggs tweeted 2 videos explaining his reasons for opposing the bills. With regard to voting against awarding congressional gold medals to January 6th officers, Biggs said that while he supports the police, the bill itself was a manipulation by the Democrats. This is coming from people who have advocated for defunding the police, resulting in soaring crime rates in various cities around this country. See what they're not? They play these word games and people get caught up in Republican versus Democrat, but this professor, whose book came out earlier this month, she's a professor at Emory College down there in Atlanta. And she made it abundantly clear that this whole Second Amendment bullshit had nothing to do with the United States being invaded by a foreign military power. No, that power, as it turns out, were the slaves, the human chattel that was our people that they were so afraid of. Of course, we got all these niggers here, and someday they just might want to be free. All right, yet I got to hear some Holocaust bullshit every year, and it was just that bullshit. All right, so you've got people that here, they are the ones that were responsible for bringing our people over here because they knew exactly who we were. They knew who the people were that fled Roman persecution, went all throughout, the majority of which fled into what's known today as Africa. How do we know this? Well, there's documentation that during the first triumvirate of Rome, which you're talking about roughly 65 BC, you had lots of our people that fled Jerusalem, all right, and went into Africa. You had already a large population of our people still remaining in Egypt. There's a reason why the scriptures, it tells the tale of Mary and Joseph with a young Yahushua fleeing into Africa. Why? So they could hide amongst their people. They couldn't do that if they were leprous, pale, so-called Caucasians. So skip forward 1,500 or so years. All right, well, 1,600. Now you've got these people that wanted to be us, that had studied since circa 740 AD. All right, namely those people referring to themselves that lived in the Caucasus Mountains. They were known as Well, Kagan Bullen and his crew, those people, plenty of stories of them, even from um, uh, Ishmael. I'm thinking of one in particular. I can't think of his name, but he was a trader, businessman, but he journeyed up in that region. And these Khazars, uh, he pointed out that they were the nastiest people he had ever known. They wore their clothes until they literally fell off. All right. But aside from stories like that, these are people that sought to take our place, and they eventually would. In the meantime, they called us Africans, when clearly we're not Hamites. Hell, even Africans are Africans. I didn't want to get off topic, but I'm trying to explain a little history here. These are these self-same people, all right, that are behind all this legislation. Ever since we were brought here, all right, it's been this, we were at war, and a lot of our people don't understand that. We are still at war to this day. You have to understand that history behind what's going on. And what I'm going to point out to you after this is they go and find people that sympathize with them, with their views. It says, I believe that there are certain officers that deserve medals that acted so meticulously on January 6th. If we could do a clean piece of legislation that could support that instead of having a catchy title so you can bash people because of the title of the bill. Getting into their feelings. Biggs was referring to the defund the police movement. Knowing the history of how the police department got founded off of the slave patrols, but so much damage has been done to this point. The gang scenario. Gangs were started in defense of the brutal police tactics. And what did Esau do? He sent in agents and perverted the whole thing, all right? And now what do you have when you think of gangs? You immediately think of, you got the drugs, you got prostitution, you got niggas being niggas. There's no other way to put it. But it didn't start out that way. That's why we have to push that we have to get out of America. This place is an open air jail for the Israelites. This is a prison, not a jail, a prison, Salaki. All right? We will never get anything done here. Now, it says it doesn't specifically aim to get rid of police departments. Prior to the June 19 vote, Biggs said he would be opposing the bill because he had an issue with the name. He claimed the Democrats could have brought forward a harmonious, listen to this, celebratory bill that everyone would have voted for if they had changed the name to Juneteenth National Emancipation Day. See, here's the fucking problem with people like this. Nothing has been equal in this country, especially when it pertains to our people. Nothing. When we bring up to you about the curses in Deuteronomy 28 chapter identifies us as the Israelites exclusively. This doesn't pertain to anybody else yet. When we get to a particular scripture where it talks about, I believe it's, well, let me get it. 44, hold on. And I just did another video on the same topic that I'm about to present to you. Our problems are not everybody else's problems that comes over here as far as immigrants. So why every time we have a gripe, you want to put us with everybody else? That's done on purpose, and it greatly dilutes the problems that are specific to us. And again, it's done on purpose. It says, this is Deuteronomy 28:43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. Tell my all these other people that come over here, he shall lend to thee. And the sadder part about that is our own people will champion this very cause. And we're sold out as a result. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. It happens constantly. Another reason why we need to get the fuck up out of this place, because it will never be. We're not talking about fuck fair and all that. This is not our rest. We keep this, Micah 2 and 10, Hebrews 11 chapter, verses 15 and 16, Hebrews 13th chapter. You know, Juneteenth, national emancipation. We're not free. You claim this Independence Day, and that's why another reason I can't see why our people being involved in that. That has nothing to do with us. It never has. That's for your oppressor. And when you really get to the root of all that, I'm not going to even go there. It says, but they've weaponized this bill like they've weaponized everything. He's going on complaining. And then you have each senator takes his turns that oppose it, and they go for their fucking reasons, whatever. But he says, this asshole from Montana, Rosendale, he says, I cannot support efforts that further racial divisions in this country. See how they play this game? We have one Independence Day and it applies equally to all people. No, it doesn't. You just assume that because it's you celebrating that bullshit July 4th, that I'm automatically, what was my condition in this country during that time? Explain to me, Mr. Senator, Mr. Rosendale. And here he goes. Rosendale also claimed the Juneteenth bill is part of a larger effort from Democrats to make critical race theory the reigning ideology of our country. Why? Because the truth is coming out. Could that be it? Could it? Don't know. We might be on to something. This is Galatians 4 and 16. Am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth? Yep. So, critical race theory. Our feelings are hurt because the truth is coming out. It makes us look bad. A person don't give a shit. You've always looked bad. This is what you did to us. What do I care if you look bad? See, they've lost the ability to control the overall narrative. It's that veil that it speaks about in Isaiah 25th chapter, verse 7. It's being lifted. 2 Thessalonians 2nd chapter, he's being revealed. All right? Son of perdition. All right? The wicked one. He's being revealed for who and what he really is, and he can't take it. So they go and find individuals like what I'm about to show you here. Lo and behold, conservatives are head over heels with a black dad who spoke out against teaching critical race theory in schools. By Rashad Grove. This is from Blavity.com. A black father is getting loved up on by GOP talking heads this week after dismissing the tenets of critical race theory alongside his daughter. Corey, listen to his last name, Yeshua, who's from Riverside County, California, originally posted a video to TikTok before audio was removed. claiming that progressive viewpoints teach children how to judge others solely based on race and not who they are as human beings. Didn't I read or hear or I don't know, something to this effect, like for the last, I don't know, 2, 3 generations now? Wasn't that the whole point of the civil rights movement? That someone pushed that theory? Judge me on the content of my character and not the color of my skin. I may be saying it in reverse, something to that effect. And that shit didn't work, and he ended up blowing his head off, or at least a hole in it. Wow. He said that if school systems teach critical race theory, black children will be taught they'll never receive equal treatment. Where the fuck have you been? Wow. Since, okay, let me get this straight. We're just talking about, now we know that the North American Indians, so-called, the tribes of Gad, and the other Northern Kingdom tribes, so-called Latinos, Hispanics, etc., were here roughly 100. Well, they dealt with the so-called Europeans roughly 130 years before we were brought over here. And ever since then, I'm trying to figure out, where have we received equal treatment? He goes on to say, you can be anything in this world that you want to be, right? Speaking into the camera, Yeshua, with his 6-year-old daughter in agreement, said, yeah, and it doesn't matter if you're black or white or any color. People, this is why, here we go here. This is why a lot of our people have got to go. Let's see.
Work hard, even though you don't know anyone. You can make friends.
Wonderful stuff and a great message, but it does raise a few questions. So earlier today, I was able to catch up with Dad, Corey, and his 6-year-old daughter, Royalty, via Skype from California. And I started by congratulating them on the message and asking them if they'd been pleased by the response so far.
See, they like to hear shit like that. This makes these devils feel
It's been beautiful. My daughter's been excited about it. I've been showing her the different articles and, you know, showing her that everybody's got their eyes on her right now for trying to change the world, you know.
And Royalty, what's your feedback been? What have you enjoyed about the response to the video?
Good.
Good. What is it, Royalty, that you really wanted to say? What did you want to share with people in that video?
It really doesn't matter what skin color you are.
Yeah, exactly. I suppose some people focus on those things, though, don't they, a lot? And Corey, you're very critical of critical race theory. Of course, race issues have been so dominant and so divisive in the US over the past year. Do you fear that things are going to get worse before they get better?
I just see things as if parents aren't standing up and fighting back and, you know, going to the school board meetings and meeting with the school boards and just speaking up for their kids, then things will get worse, you know. But that's why I made the video I made, and I wanted people to wake up to what's really going on. And they're trying to brainwash our children.
Yeah, the message that you shared in this video is really the same message that Martin Luther King Jr. shared, of course, and the whole world appreciates the power and the sense of that message, and that is that we don't want people to be judged by...
You know what? I can't. I will post this, a link to this. Personally, I can't. People like this, I hope they're the first one. When these race wars kick off, I hope I can see them strung up and, you know, whatever. I got to go. Hey, this started off with these Republicans voting against the Juneteenth, and then it ended with this sucker right here. All right. So with that, hey, call all Yahweh Shalom. Shalom.